Welcome to this episode of Unraveling Adoption, an intentional space to delve into adoption's complexities together. I'm Beth Syverson. I'm an adoptive mom of a courageous and insightful 20-year-old son, Joey. He and I started this podcast in August 2021, and he has been engaged off and on with the podcast and other Unraveling Adoption activities since then. The last time you've heard from him on the pod was in January 2024 with an episode called Joe's Healing Journey Continued. At that time, he had 6 hours off weed, and he was registered for the spring semester at the local community college. And I'm very happy to let you know that he's back with us today to update you on how his recovery is going now, 5 months later. And so happy to have you on, Joey, even though we're not in the same room, but we can be on the podcast together across the miles.
No, I am so excited to be here. I'm in a great place, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally.
Mm-hmm.
My sobriety date is April 8th, 2024.
Okay.
And I don't know how many days that is. I can't do math, but I'm close to 30 days.
Yep.
And that's probably the longest I've been in a long time.
Yeah, very good. So last time our audience has heard from you, you had 6 hours sober, and you had high hopes for going to school and everything was looking great. And how did that go?
It went well for a little bit, and then it just kind of dive bombed because I got back into substances, which I don't mind saying is just marijuana and nicotine. But I'm still on nicotine. That's probably the hardest thing to get off. And I feel like if I were to get off of it, I would go crazy.
Yeah.
So marijuana is my drug of choice.
Okay. So you've had almost 30 days off of weed and still hanging on to nicotine, but I think we've all agreed that just one thing at a time. Right?
Literally, one thing at a time. Don't go cold turkey with everything at once because that will probably make you go insane.
So what happened in January? And then what happened to make you want to go into recovery again?
In January, I was dedicated, but not fully understanding of what I needed. I was very dedicated to not wanting to do it, but I didn't have the people around me that understood how to help me. So it was kind of on my own. And I realized, we'll get into it, that that's not the best way to do it.
Yeah. I think if anyone's ever been in any sort of 12-step meeting, we've heard, I thought I could do it myself.
Yeah. And that usually doesn't end well.
Yeah. Almost always doesn't work. I don't know why, but it's really, really hard to do by yourself.
Yeah.
If not impossible. Yeah. So what was your breaking point? Why did you decide to become sober again?
Well, my major pushing was, I'm going to share this, but I'm not going to say the name of my girlfriend. I just was like, I can't be that person anymore. And I believe that the cannabis was making me numb to my emotions, so I couldn't really express them fully. And also, it was a thing that we fought over. Just, what do we do? And then it made us have a lot of anxiety towards it.
Yeah. So fighting about weed all the time.
Exactly. But now we're both in treatment, which is exciting. Exciting is all I can be. And I'm just really proud of her, very proud of her. And I'm proud of myself. And I can say that with dignity.
Yes, we're all very proud of you. And I'm super glad you're proud of yourself, because I could be proud of you all day long. But if you don't feel proud, then it's just kind of like window dressing. So yeah, I'm proud of both of you. And what was it that brought you into rehab this time? What was the straw that broke the camel's back?
I don't fully remember. But do you remember me stating anything?
You had a really rough week with your girlfriend and you were fighting a lot. I know that. And then you happened to have your psychiatrist's appointment on that Friday.
That week. Yeah.
Yeah, that week after kind of a rough week with your girlfriend. And then you and your psychiatrist decided the next step.
That next step came really fast, actually.
Yes.
I explained to him what I needed. I needed something that was different than the last couple of treatment centers I've been to. And he said, I got you. And this doctor I feel so grateful for him.
How is this place different than the other places?
They have a lot more research done within their own system, and their structure is a lot more strict, but at the same time, understanding that people need to do their own thing.
Do you feel comfortable telling where you're at or no?
Yeah, I feel very comfortable. I'm at Hazelden Betty Ford in Palm Springs, but now I'm currently at Daisy Lane, which is a PHP program.
Yeah, so it's run by Betty Ford. It's a partial hospitalization program, which is like an all-day outpatient treatment for recovery, and you're staying at a house with other people going through the same treatment.
Yes.
So.
And I would like to explain kind of how the PHP works. Treatment days are only Monday through Friday.
Okay.
Weekends don't count.
Okay. So Monday through Friday is like kind of going to school, right?
Yeah.
They have a schedule for you. You go this meeting, that meeting, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And then in the evenings and on the weekends, you're kind of like a regular person.
Yeah.
But with these other colleagues that are also going through treatment.
Exactly.
That's awesome. We are so grateful for the Betty Ford Clinic. And, you know, I've heard wonderful things about them and they are wonderful. It's been way above and beyond what the other treatment centers have been like for you, right?
100%.
Yeah. It seems like the quality of people and the staff, it's much better and more serious. And
all of them have been through some sort of treatment or rehab or something.
Okay. That's also important. And it's just a beautiful place with peaceful grounds and there's a pond and ducks and turtles and it's really pretty.
Yeah. The grim fact is there's coyotes.
Oh.
And then now there was like 10 ducks. Now there's only like one.
Oh God, that's terrible.
It's kind of beautiful. Not in the sense that they're dying, but you see life right at your fingertips.
Yeah.
How volatile life is. Also the beauty of the trees, the birds, everything.
Yeah. And it's all very transient too, sadly.
Yeah.
The ducks. Well, so we're very grateful for your doctor sending you there and the people that have been staffed there and all of your colleagues that you're with in the program. It's been a really great experience.
Oh, yeah.
But not without some ups and downs, right? It's not like a perfectly straight line.
If it was perfectly straight, I wouldn't have learned anything. Mm-hmm. That's what we've talked about. And I believe that the troubles I've been having here push me to think and understand myself even more. And I've stayed here the longest of any treatment. I graduated, quote unquote, Betty Ford the first time forever.
Yeah, the first 21 days.
21 days I did it.
Yep.
And
you completed the program.
I completed the program. And it's such an accomplishment for me because I usually always dip out leave at 2 weeks. And that was about 2-3 weeks of pushing through. And I did it.
Yeah. Yeah. And right between 2 and 3 weeks was really rough for you.
Mm-hmm. I actually was in a class that says a lot of addicts actually last 2 weeks.
Oh, is that a common threshold?
It's a common thing. 2 weeks, and then they fall off if it's not maintained.
Because you can kind of white knuckle it for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then once you get past that white knuckling or honeymoon stage, right about 2 weeks is when that disappears.
Yeah.
Or falls off.
So what happened to you? What kind of things occur in your head or in your behavior at that 2 week juncture?
A lot of stuff, but the main thing was uncomfortability, wanting new. I wanted novelty.
Yeah.
I felt I was hearing the same lectures over and over because I was there enough time.
Yeah, and you've just been kind of uncomfortable, kind of dissatisfied with some things. And what is your instinct when that happens?
Leave, flight.
Yeah, flight. You have a very strong flight response that you've been really working hard on. And you haven't left yet. I'm so proud of you.
Recently, I actually, at Daisy Lane, I was about to leave because of some troubles that I had about the same thing, feeling no novelty. And as soon as I got past and talked and expressed my feelings and emotions towards the issue and to someone, some people, it released that bottling up, which I usually do. Especially with cannabis, I would just numb out and explode, and then I would flee.
Yeah, you leave somehow or another. And you were on the verge of leaving a bunch of times in these last couple weeks. I don't know, like how close do you think you were to leaving, to walking out the door?
I would never walk out the door. Because I know the AMA looks really bad.
Oh, okay. Going against medical advice.
And if I left campus, it would be not AMA, it would be AWOLing.
Oh, you just like hike out. Okay.
And that's against my morals. And due to the fact that I'm clear-headed, mostly that's against my morals. I don't want to go against rules.
Yeah, you're kind of a rule follower, which is kind of funny.
It's very ironic.
It's ironic, but it's very true. You like rules, you like structure, you like people following them, and you're really a rule follower. Very much so. So has the community been what's kept you there? You said you started opening your mouth and talking to people. Is that what kept you there? 100%.
I would like to say that lectures here, you get some nuggets out of them, yes. But that's maybe 10% of what I'm really getting out of this is 80%, 90%, let's say, is really the community and the other people going through the same stuff and expressing how we all have the same issue. And that's addiction. And it could be any substance. It could be anything. It could be sex. It could be gambling. It could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's still driven by that same addictive mindset.
Mm-hmm. So talking with other people that struggle with similar issues has been really, really helpful for you.
Yes. And not just that, maybe even just community, having other people around that are on the same track.
Yeah. You just got back in from pickleball. Was that therapeutic?
That was the most therapeutic thing I've ever done here besides the community. That was an active thing that I was doing, but it was fun. It was really fun.
Really fun. And you were chatting too.
Sober fun.
Yeah, sober fun. Yeah, you're learning it can be fun sober. So using your body, you're such a physical athlete and you experience the world very physically. So you got to use your body and you were chatting with the other guys that were playing with you. And
I would like to state that I was talking to someone I would never have talked to on the outside. It's so strange, but awesome at the same time. Is in these treatment centers, you're put in with these people that are going through the same thing, but all walks of life, all ethnicities, all religions, all anything. But we have one thing in common, and that's addiction. And that's how we get along.
Yeah. So there's people that you probably would avoid out in the real world, maybe the different religion or something like that. But you are embracing your curiosity and just seeing them as whole people that are struggling just like you.
Exactly.
That's pretty remarkable.
I would have never talked to the person I was playing pickleball on my team with.
Really?
Yeah.
But you can see them as a whole person.
As not just a whole person, but as a human being that is struggling and needs, not necessarily needs, but would benefit from a community and someone to hear, an ear to talk off. And I'm that ear to talk off.
Yeah, you're a good listener. I've heard you tell stories of how you're helping other people and giving them resources, and you're just amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're really getting outside of yourself. Although, honestly, you probably like to help other people more than yourself, but still,
100%.
It's yeah. But that's helping you, though. When you help other people, it helps you.
Yeah.
And other people are helping you, and it kind of what goes around comes around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what would you like our audience to know? You know, they've been following your story for, I don't know, some of them have been around since the beginning, but maybe for the last couple of weeks, maybe they heard you in January or heard little blips about you. But what would you like them to know about you today?
Well, I'm in a way better place than I've actually been in a long time. I may have felt this way some other times, but this is real. I've been off of cannabis for the longest time I feel in a long time. So I'm actually feeling these feelings genuinely.
Yes.
So it's a true feeling of happiness, not just I don't necessarily think happiness, but joy, generosity, giving, and then also gratitude.
Mm-hmm. And just so our listeners know, you've been using cannabis since you were 13, I think.
13, 14,
maybe 12. Yeah. And you're 20 now. So this is the longest stretch, and it takes about a month for cannabis to get out of your system. So it's just about out. But you're feeling a lot clearer. You're feeling like it's almost out of your brain.
I'm still peeing positive for THC.
Okay.
But I do feel the clearest I've ever felt. And the line is so faint on the test.
Okay. So it's a quantitative test so they can see that it's almost out. That's so great. Does it help you that they test you? And do they do it randomly?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do it randomly. It keeps me accountable. But also, I have zero cravings. Zero. I haven't had a single craving throughout this whole time here. I think it's because I finally just said, I can't do this anymore. The consequences were too much.
You really made a choice and said, okay, this is ridiculous, because you were losing out on so much.
Literally, and hurting others, which is not part of me.
Yeah, that was really hard.
Let's say something tragic or something spiritual happened. Maybe it could have happened. We don't know. But this is the path I took, and I think this is where I'm finding that serenity.
Yeah, it came totally from within you. It wasn't even on my mind. You kind of shocked me by telling me you talked to the doctor about it, and he put you in 2 days.
I don't think I even mentioned it to you until the next day.
Yeah, you're like, oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was on a Friday that you met with him, and on Sunday, we moved you in.
I moved in. That was on the 7th, but I consider, because I think I used that day.
Sure.
So 8th would be my sober day.
That's nice. Yeah. Whoever starts a diet, the day before the diet, you got to eat some cake, right?
You got to binge a little bit.
That's very typical of anyone that's quitting anything. So, well, what are your future plans in the near future? What are you going to be doing?
I've learned, and this has always been kind of a thing, but day by day, sometimes even hour by hour, minute by minute, second by second, you have to stay close enough in that time frame so you can stay sane.
Oh, to stay centered on the present moment.
Exactly.
Okay.
But my future is looking a lot brighter.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can say. That's all I can say. I don't know what will happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to know what will happen. It's a day by day thing.
Mm-hmm.
I go in the present now. And yes, I've been planning some things, getting some ideas out there because that was what I was feeling in the moment. But I never act upon them impulsively. Maybe I will sometime, but right now it's not as impulsive.
And you're looking to move to an apartment with a friend?
Yes, in Palm Springs, out here where recovery is a lot more prominent.
Yeah. So instead of going back and living with your dad, which we probably all could guess the trajectory of that, what that would look like, just because it's so habitual.
Exactly. But my plan isn't to stay out here forever. I could. Like I said, I don't know. I don't want to know. But in my heart, it's like I have a place near the beach. I love the beach.
Yeah.
I could go to San Diego maybe and even be by the beach, but I don't want to land here because it's way too hot in the summers.
Yeah, it's too bad you didn't start there in like November.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're going to get right into the heat of it here pretty soon. How hot was it today?
It was actually not too hot today. It was like 87.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. But you're going to stay there for a year or two?
Year or two at minimum.
Get really solid?
Yeah, get solid in my recovery. I've realized that smart recovery is my thing rather than AA. I would follow the steps of AA, take what I can from it, but in truth, I will not be going to those meetings. I'll be going to the smart recovery meetings.
Okay, for those that aren't familiar, what is the difference? What is smart recovery like?
Smart recovery is a lot more communication based, and you can crosstalk a lot more.
Okay.
Because in AA, you usually just let someone speak and then they move on.
Okay, so no crosstalk. That's kind of a rule.
And then after the meeting, you can like discuss. But in smart recovery, it's a lot of, what do you feel about this? Give the space for them at one point, and then how do you feel about that? And then it goes on.
And they teach more skills from what
CBT based, DBT based.
Cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavior therapy. Yeah, so it's more science based, and they take out the religion piece, which is a little bit of a bugaboo.
100%. They completely avoid God. They do implement spirituality, but not like God.
Yeah, and you don't have to sign off on it, you know.
Yeah.
I know in AA they say it could be a higher power, whatever you want it to be, but they kind of just avoid that piece in smart recovery.
Yeah. But what I've found here is through meditation, which has become something that I've implemented in my life after one experience, is that I have found a spirituality through meditation. And that is a big key to how I'm staying sane and calm.
Nice. Do you have a regular meditation practice now, or you just recently had that experience that was transformative?
I've had 2 transformative experiences within the 2 days. And I now have a routine, which is just put on meditation music, just like that spa music, I guess, and do specific breathing patterns. And that gets me into a very meditative state. And then the last 2 times I had a vision and I heard a voice.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Are you wanting to share that with people, or is it personal?
No, I can share it because it could help someone. And that vision, I guess, that I saw was Leona, our cat that passed away a couple years ago. And I saw her in the place she is now. And that I didn't break down with my spiritual counselor. But the second one, which I had, was I was in the same meditative state, but no visuals. I got a voice that said, preserve nature. And then when I broke it down with my spiritual counselor, he said it's not exterior nature that he expressed it as God, but I took it as spirituality and maybe a higher power. He said, I believe it is the seeds that you have planted in yourself that have sprouted, and that nature within you, you have to preserve that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Because I thought I was going to go plant some trees or something, do some like work in the forest, but no, it was internal.
Yeah, maybe you can do both. Who knows?
Yeah.
I know being out in nature is very healing for you. It always has been.
Yeah.
You've always been an outside kind of kid, and just like getting dirty and getting into nature.
Yeah.
I remember when you were in preschool, it was kind of a hippie co-op preschool. I love Hilltop Preschool. And when I would go, I would stay inside and work with the kitchen or setting up painting or whatever, but you spent 100% of the time outside.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let him have his space out there. And you just loved being outside. So there's a very good connection you have with nature. What would you like to do with Unraveling Adoption now that you're feeling so much better and getting a lot more stable?
I would love to be a lot more involved. That's how I feel, and I feel I can help, not in an egotistical way, but I would love to help people through, or maybe even counsel or therapize people. Because not because I know more than others, but I have an experience that may help someone.
Yeah, I can totally see you being a coach or a therapist or a recovery specialist or any number of things, big or small. There's ways to do it that don't take very long, and there's ways to do it that take many years of schooling. But
yeah,
I can totally see you doing something like that.
The long periods of schooling probably wouldn't be my path, but I would do something a little more baseline.
Yeah, there's programs that could take maybe a year of study. And we're getting ready to release our book. Would you like to talk about the book a little bit?
I really have been a little distant from the book, but I would love you to explain that.
Okay. Well, it's called Adoptees and Suicidality, an anthology of stories, poems, and resources for adoptees, families, healthcare professionals, and allies.
You came up with that?
Yeah. Do you like that title? Okay, by the way?
I freaking love it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, the anthology. I don't even know what that means. That's a big word.
It just means a collection of things.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, because it has our story plus 14 or 15 other people's stories and poems and letters, and then a whole list of resources in the back. So this book is about suicidality, which unfortunately we know a lot about. And we think it's really important to share that connection between adoption and suicidality to hopefully save lives. Yeah. So I'm tying it up right now. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, it'll be coming out. So you won't miss it because I'll be blasting it everywhere because I feel so strongly that this information get out. And Joey and I share our story of how we've gotten through with your suicidality. And yeah, it's really important work. So,
and again, I am 100% down for you to share that story because I feel it is important for people to hear just like you. I don't hold back with my story. I let it free.
Yeah. I'll put a link in the episode notes about an early episode we did about suicidality if you'd like to hear Joey talking about it more.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it's going to look in the future, but certainly Joey wants to be more involved. I want him more involved. I always wanted you more involved in anything, however much you want to be involved, we can do. And my big dream is to do a TED Talk with you one day. So I'm going to keep holding that out as a possibility.
Yeah, manifest that. So. Actually, my girlfriend suggested me watching her therapist who had a TED Talk.
Oh, okay.
It was very enlightening. It was relapse is part of recovery.
Oh, and it is.
It is.
And it is. And there's no shame in it. And we just keep walking.
If you do decide to get back up on the horse, that's the path of recovery, even if you do relapse.
Yep. So taking away any stigma and shame from relapse and just holding space for people that are struggling. It's really, really, really hard. And you're doing it and super proud of you. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we close?
Again, I would hope for people to have a lot more love towards themselves and others, but that's a long way to come. But nurture yourself, nurture others, and try and be kind, not to just others, but yourself.
Yeah. And if someone has a loved one in their life that's struggling with addiction, what would you tell them right now?
Stay curious. Don't judge. Try not to, because that just hurts the individual more. And try to avoid stigma and understanding that they're struggling through something, not trying to hurt you.
Yeah, don't take it personally. And what would you say to any adoptees or other people who are listening that are struggling with addiction right now? They're in the middle of it.
There's hope for you. If you decide to choose a path of recovery, first thing is being honest with yourself and honest with others. Rigorous honesty is later, but some form of honesty can get you a long way.
Yeah. So finding that person that might be able to hold your honest truth with you. Yeah. Yeah. So important. Well, Joe, I am super proud of you. I can't wait to see you in 2 days and help you find a place to land after this. And I can't wait for you to be more involved with the pod or with the book or with however you want to do it. We could create whatever you want. So we're all making this up as we go along anyway. So we are just very, very proud of you. And I know Jan is too. She's sleeping right now, but she's very proud of you too. And we're just going to hang together and keep walking forward. All three of us.
My family does.
That's what we do. All right. Thank you everyone for listening. Please share this really important and wonderful episode with anyone you know who might be struggling with addiction or who might be an adoptive parent or who just might resonate with this continuing story of our family, loving each other through whatever. We just keep on it going. All right. Thank you for listening. Thanks again for being on again, Joey. I just love you so much.
I love you. And do we do the stay safe thing?
Yes. All right. We end every episode. This was Joey's idea way back in the day. Joey and I want you all to stay safe.